Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage podcast, episode 214. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Snitsky. Hello, sir.
Hi there. I've got a large Mexican dark lager.
Is that a squealer?
Oil can, whatever you want to
Oil
call it.
can, crawler.
Something. But it's from Vin Brewing. This is a brewery that I've been meaning to go to, and I've consistently driven past them almost every day for the last 5 years and have not gone in.
And did you go in today?
No, I didn't. I found this at Marshall Street Liquor in St. Paul.
Gotcha. Shameless plug.
Well, so the thing is, to get to this brewery, it's kind of a pain in the ass, and I have to be consciously thinking about to go there.
Okay.
Because it's on Hiawatha, I have to drive past the light rail on Hiawatha.
Oh, okay.
And it's those things where it's like, well, if I'm turning left and the train comes, it's like the University Avenue thing where I get screwed. And by the time I get there, I don't even want to drink beer because I'm so dehydrated. I need water. So it just.
I was going to say, how many rounds of whatever game did you play on your mobile device waiting for the light to turn?
It's a lost cause. So let's try this. It's a Mexican dark lager, so it is literally my favorite style of beer. All right, so it's. All right.
Sounds good.
Let's smell it. All right, it smells like a Mexican dark lager. That's good. It doesn't have any weird scents.
I'm expecting a full Cicerone report here, so.
Slightly more gravity than I'd imagine.
I only have 9.8 meters per second squared.
However, it's real good. It is very similar to the Trader Jose's dark Mexican lager.
Nice.
A little bit more peppery, which is good. I like that. I like that Mexican dark lagers have a little bit of pepper flavor.
Actually, pepper is a great flavor in pretty much anything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it works great with beer. And so that's how I like a Mexican dark lager.
I like the art.
Yeah, it's very
Even
simple.
the name Ven, it's spelled like Venn in Venn diagram. It's kind of cool. I was drinking a cream ale, but I finished it just before our actual official episode. So at some point, you will hear me, I'm sure, walk away and get another one. And before we dig into topics, I briefly want to touch on our Patreon page. If you head on over to patreon.com/Carbitrage, spelled just like the thing you typed in on this episode.
Wait a minute.
What?
Hello, patrons. I forgot to say hello to them, and they always get an extra hello.
Oh, no.
They get 2 hellos.
Do you need a do-over, or is that good
No,
enough?
I think we're good.
Okay,
I just wanted to let them know.
Patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this particular fine-crafted webpage, you will find 2 open-ended levels of support for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. Head on over to there. You will get added automatically to our Discord if you are a Discord member. Actually, a pretty hoppin' place. You will get a koozie, the color good one, or a podcast one, depending on your tastes and preferences.
We have to order some more podcast ones because
I've got a lot.
I think the podcasts are more popular than the actual one.
We'll have a topic, I don't know if it's in this or the next episode, talking about the upcoming shows, and yes, we will definitely have to get some more podcast koozies ready for that.
Yes, we will.
But patreon.com/Carbitrage.
All right.
And you have the first main topic, but I have to...
Yeah, we have to talk about
pay
it.
homage. Unfortunately, Beamer the cat, who was born the same year BMW peaked,
Yes,
2000...
Yes, it was.
Unfortunately, has passed away at age just under 21. So.
She was 21. She was legal enough to drink.
Yep. That's all. Pour one out for Beamer. She was a good kitty.
I'm not pouring this out because it's a very expensive beer.
Pour it out into your face hole.
I'm pouring it out into my face hole.
Anyway, we got Beamer when I was 9. She was a very good kitty. Lived with my brother and our first patron, Scott, for the last 11 years. And yeah, she had a good, rich life wearing her roundel around her neck.
Yes, and she was only eating wet food, according to Scott.
She was
recently
very decadently served for the last at least year of her life.
That's good.
Where she got progressively more picky about her food. So that's
I fear for when Lucifer gets old because he's already so picky.
That's why I don't feed my garbage cats wet food yet.
Fun fact, Lucifer does not like salmon. He does not like tuna. He doesn't like most fish, but loves walleye.
Okay. Lucy, bro,
I had a walleye sandwich, and he yeah, I left it, and usually he doesn't eat food, and he was all over it. So I gave him a chunk of it, a decent sized chunk. I'm like, looks like you're getting 2 dinners tonight, buddy. And
hell yeah.
He was very, very excited.
I had a coworker that said his grandmother's cat that had been through 5 different people in the family and was found in a barn in the middle of the winter with no ears because of frostbite.
Oh, wow.
Favorite delicacy was a chicken McNugget from McDonald's with the breading taken off.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Weird food choices. God, I really hope
cats are weird.
I hope that it's not the particular walleye sandwich I got because it was from the block and it was like a $15 walleye sandwich.
Well, let's maybe find out with like the cheapest walleye.
I'll get a fish fillet or something.
Maybe I'll forget.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll
Anyway,
forget about that.
you've got the first topic. I'll let you preface that. I'm
Yes.
gonna quick run over to that refrigerator.
So, for those of you who are newer to us, we are from the Twin Cities area, which is, for better or worse, now known for its civil rights issues that's been having. Between Philando Castile and George Floyd and now Dante Wright and Jamar Clark and countless other ones. People that have just seen Roost Check, people have just died at the hands of Twin Cities Police Department.
Sorry.
However, last week, I guess not last week, it was the Sunday before last week. Well, if you're Catholic, it was last week.
Shabbos.
Yeah. There was the shooting of Dante Wright that happened by Officer Kim Powder of the Brooklyn Center Police Department. And the whole point of this whole traffic stop was because of expired tabs and a air freshener hanging from the windshield.
That's definitely a primary.
Now he did. Turns out he did have a warrant for his arrest because he had a court summons. That was.
Did they know that when they pulled him over?
I don't know. She
Okay.
found that out after the fact. But apparently, from what I've seen after the fact, the court summons was delivered to the wrong address, and he was not aware that he had that. So he was aware that he had a carrying an illegal firearm charge that was levied against him, but he didn't know when the court date was. So anyway, she was going to taser him or something, and decided to shoot him instead, or rather, her defense is that she grabbed her gun instead of her taser, which is on the opposite side of her body, and weighs like literally 10 times as much.
And is the wrong color.
It's the wrong color, and it has a different hand feel. She's just an idiot. And she also like endangered all the officers around her. Because like police officers aren't accurate.
No, and I think a lot of that comes across in her reaction, which after the firearm was discharged,
Yeah,
according
and
to the
she
body
said,
cam.
"Oh shit, I shot him." Yeah.
Yeah, great training.
And then he drove off and crashed into a Subaru.
Oh my god.
Like,
Of course it was the Super.
well, thankfully, because otherwise that person would have likely died, and they both would have likely died.
Oh, there was somebody in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a parked
drove
car.
into oncoming traffic.
Oh.
Yeah, and his girlfriend was in the hospital because of the accident that she caused.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she's a horrible witch of a person. Anyway.
Your next Potter.
Yeah, exactly. These ridiculous laws need to be abolished immediately.
I agree. Or at least, forming them from a non-primary. Like, you can't be pulled over.
This should not be something that you should be able to get pulled over for. Because there's so many... This is the thing. In Minnesota, I guess not Minnesota, it's actually national. Because our particular statistics actually are the national average, where 78% of people that are pulled over are people of color. And it was something like, I think, 12% are white.
Okay.
However, of the people that are pulled over, 48% of the white people are usually carrying contraband on them. Usually it's black people that get pulled over because they have like a broken taillight on their Chevy Lumina in Philando Castile's case.
Oh, God.
Or
I drive by that every day.
Yeah, or they have a little trees hanging from their mirror, like in Dante Wright's case. Or really anything. I've been pulled over for having a small little Torah that was 1 square centimeter hanging from my mirror because I took it off after I was done with work that day, and as I was working on a car, I forgot to remove it. When that happened to me, I did not get shot by the police.
And your skin color is
White.
Okay.
And when I fought it in court, I actually wore it to court and
To
showed the
demonstrate
judge
how
how small it
ridiculous
was. And he goes, "This is ridiculous." And he actually, the cop got it actually got put on the cop's record and everything. Told the officer to stop wasting his time. The officer showed up in court.
Also impressive.
Yeah. To be entirely fair, I was street racing at the time.
Statute of limitations probably passed,
Yeah.
so okay.
Well, they also have no proof that I was doing that, so I could just be saying that. So,
I just love saying allegedly so much.
Street racing
That's all
at
I was
the time.
getting at, yeah.
And it's, the thing is with the cop, he never saw me actually racing. He didn't see that I was part of the group. I mean,
Right.
It's not illegal to drive a Honda Civic in St. Paul at 11 o'clock on a Saturday.
Maybe unwise, but definitely not
yeah,
illegal.
it's not illegal. Like, I was just driving a Honda Civic on a Saturday at 11 o'clock in St. Paul around a bunch of street racers. Anyway, the thing is, these equipment laws are absolutely ridiculous. They completely serve the purpose of giving the police probable cause to harass people. And as we've noticed in the last few years, that the harassing of people is not just to like clear out the riffraff. There is a decided effort here for people that have equipment violations to get harassed. And generally the people that have equipment violations are people that are of lower income.
Right.
In the United States, as people of color, notably black people, don't really have the generational income that white people have, because white people had about a 300, 400 year head start when black people were being slaves, being held as slaves against their will, I should say. White people do generally have less equipment violations, and generally when they do, it's because they're doing some illegal shit, and that's why white people get arrested more often, whereas black people just get harassed for driving while black, really.
Right, it's that. I mean, think of like if you had no automotive background, you bought a cheap W body because it's a 3800 and it'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah, it works because it's a functional vehicle.
Somebody hits your car on the street as they're getting out. It happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
If all you know is a shop to fix your taillight, they're looking at a new part plus actual like shop
for
labor
an actual
rates.
shop to replace your taillight, it's gonna be hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars. They don't have tools. They don't have a U-pole necessarily.
Yeah, well, it's like asking your mother, and specifically your mother, to replace her taillight herself.
I bet
like not everybody knows how
that.
to do that. I know, but not everybody knows how to do that.
No,
That's the thing.
I get what you're saying.
Is like if I asked my mother to do it, she'd probably screw it up and break more things than she fixed. Which she'd have a functional taillight where the bulb doesn't work. Like,
and maybe that's what happens here too.
Yeah, so
even if you try, you get
like
screwed.
this. Also, from state to state, having things hang from your rearview mirror changes. That's a huge change. Same thing with tint laws. Also, a lot of people that when I was selling cars back when we first started this, a lot of people that I was selling cars to were very nervous about buying cars from other states because of window tint. And actually, one of them, an African American gentleman, not unsurprisingly, actually got pulled over and got a ticket because of the window tint on his car. It was from Arizona. And luckily, he was not held at gunpoint or anything, but he did get an actual ticket, and because Maurice is wonderful, we actually took the tint off for him at no charge, given that just happened within a week of him having that.
Yeah. Oh,
but that's the thing is, like, the dude got pulled over. He frankly, had a very high likelihood of getting shot over nothing. And honestly, a lot of these times, these equipment violations will also lead to searches of the vehicle.
Oh yeah, it's
while
probable cause.
While white people can not consent to the search, it's a lot easier for us to not consent to the search, as opposed to a black person. Because a black person, you're already gambling to not get shot while doing everything right. Because, I mean, look what happened to Philando Castile. He did everything exactly he should have done, and he got shot. And so I don't frankly blame Dante Wright for trying to run, because he's going to get shot regardless.
Right.
Like, this way, if you're running, you at least have a chance. I don't blame him. And this is the thing, is like, if you don't consent to the search, you're going to make everything a hell of a lot harder on yourself.
That's the thing. As a white male, I push back on the cops all the time.
Yeah.
If I was a black male or a person
never.
of color,
Absolutely
hell
never,
no.
ever.
No, I don't want to get shot, and that's probably the thought going through their mind. Like,
I used to do
hands
that
on the
every
wheel.
time until I had a person of color in the car with me when I did not consent for the police officer to search the car. And she got very nervous, and after that I promised her I'd never do that ever again. But we were pulled over, and she was legitimately afraid she was going to get killed. And because I pushed back on a cop, I'm like, do you have a warrant? Why do you think of this? Why do you think that my car needs to be searched? Because my car has tinted windows. My tint is legal and factory. Like, and he's like, it smells like beer in here. I'm like, yeah, I just came back from a concert. You can smell my jacket. There's beer in it. I will do a breathalyzer in the car, but you're not searching my vehicle. And so she was very, very concerned about that. And ever since then, I
Understandably
have
so.
not done that because it's just now I train that out of my head.
Well, I mean, and to your point, like, this didn't start at Philando Castile. It just brought it
Castile,
to our
yeah.
attention.
No, and that's the thing is Philando Castile, he is, he was the one that really brought these equipment violations to our attention, and this has been happening for years. Like, my father, who's a baby boomer, he
Indeed.
never understood the NWA song "Fuck the Police" because he never listened to the lyrics. He just heard "Fuck the Police." His brother was a cop. He goes, "Yeah, that's not right." But now, after this happened, I had my dad listen to, like, actually read the lyrics.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I understand why they're mad about this. Like, this has been happening nonstop forever to black people."
What's that Spike Lee movie from
Do
the
the Right
late
Thing?
80s? Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
But that's a perfect example of what happens.
Seriously, it's
Well, you know,
the differential and preferential treatment. I mean, as somebody who gets it, I mean, let's be honest, preferential treatment.
Yeah.
Like, I
do,
don't.
yeah.
That shouldn't exist.
No,
But it
absolutely
does.
shouldn't,
Like, so
yeah.
how do we?
you know,
Anyway.
the fact that lowriders even have hydraulics in the first place is actually because of equipment laws like this.
Oh,
Because in California, they made a law. It's specific to Latin Americans that the body of your car cannot be lower than the lip of your wheel. And so they'd have lowriders. They'd lower the cars super low,
yeah.
and then they'd raise them back up when when the police would turn around, and then the police would pull them over, and then go and you go, I don't know what you're looking at.
Also,
This-
giant car, 13-inch Dayton's.
Exactly. But see, that wasn't an issue for the customs in the 1950s. This wasn't an issue until the 1960s,
Right.
when lowrider culture gained a lot of popularity in Southern California. Because hot rods, driving around with no fenders, you're driving around with the front end slammed on the
No
ground,
lights.
scraping your front bumper. You're driving around doing everything. And hot rods rarely got hassled by the police. This is another example of these equipment violations. And yes, it did turn to something good with lowriders, because lowriders are frankly the most artistic of all car builds that you can ever have. But the thing is, that artistic ability shouldn't come from a fear of life and death.
Right.
That artistic ability should come from your artistic, like, aptitude.
Right.
So-
Or yeah, playing at the vulnerabilities in the law without fearing for your life.
Exactly. Like, and those are things that I do all the time.
Yeah.
Like, Ford does that. Like, the Mustang GT350R is exactly 98 decibels. They made the engine quieter so they could have a louder exhaust. Like,
We're not
Things like-
changing the baffle. You need to change the camshaft profile.
yeah, and that's the thing is, like, America has a history of playing with the equipment laws, and these equipment violations just should not be a thing. And you know what? While I understand the reason for their existence theoretically.
I do too, because there are outliers to everything.
Yes,
The
'cause-
person rolling around with 5% on their windshield needs a ticket.
Yeah, the person that does that, the drooler who has 10 tons of scrap on his S10, yeah, that needs to be addressed. The guy who has got tabs from 2014 and 2021,
And the computer confirms this.
yes, that needs to be addressed. However, none of these things should be pulled over for.
Right.
These are all things that you can easily handle by mailing them a ticket. You can easily mail that. And if the car, let's say, here's an example. You have tabs that are expired.
Sure do.
Yeah, and then they mail you a ticket because you're parked on the street with your tabs expired. And let's say you don't pay attention to your first one. They send you a second one that now has a late fee on it.
Oh, sorry. I'm totally on board with this as long as there's an easier
However-
recourse for, like, not having to go see a hearing officer about it.
Frankly, let's say that they don't even do that because it's a state. I know what I'm dealing with here. I'm dealing with. It's not going to be a perfect world. I have to deal with what is easiest for
Okay,
them,
fine.
not me.
Let's get
But let's
worst
just
case
say-
scenario. They mail you a tab ticket. You have to go see a hearing officer
Yeah.
if you want to take care
Now,
of it.
you
Yep.
take care of that. You're not going to get pulled over for it. Let's say you continuously not do that. Let's say it's been 2 years of not paying for your tabs.
Yeah.
And you're still parked on the street and you now have, say, $1,000 in late fees. Tow the car.
Yeah.
And then they have to get the car from impound, they then have to pay for the tabs and the fees. That way nobody gets shot. You're not putting a police officer in danger. You're not putting a person of color in danger. you're getting this car that off the road for whatever reason, or they're not paying their road tax, whatever, fine. But that is a way to handle it without creating a life or death situation for both the officer and the person who owns the car.
I think the passive way is like I always give shit to meter maids for like writing plate tickets, but like that's how registration and plate tickets. That's the only way they should exist.
Yes, that it should be handled. It should be handled by meter maids.
Yes,
and that
it's non-confrontational. You're not there.
You're also not creating a new job. You don't have any more overhead.
Correct.
You're actually gonna probably have better enforcement of it.
And like to your point, yeah, because there's already a law, at least in St. Paul. It's like if you get your car chalked 48 hours, it hasn't moved, it gets towed anyway.
Yeah.
So
if you don't have your tabs tickets paid for, I said 2 years. That was a ridiculous amount. Maybe say a year. Say you have 2019 you have 2019 tabs this year. Yeah, then they should get
2 years out of date, and you like confirmed by the computer haven't paid that. I think that is a towable thing.
Yeah, that's totally towable. And then also the fact that your computer should be able to verify that, because I've gotten tabs tickets where my tabs got stolen off of my car, but I knew I'd paid them.
Yep.
And then when I got new tabs to take care of the ticket, I had tabs for 2 years in advance. It's really dumb.
I've been pulled over for tabs before.
Yes.
Didn't get shot. And they mentioned to me that it looked like I had purchased tabs for the car, and I told them, like, I definitely have, I have 15 vehicles. You can pull it up. Like, I have to look through the pile to make sure I put the right ones on the right car.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise it's illegal. And the person's like, okay, I guess that adds up. And that was, like, the first ever warning I got. Because I get tickets all the time. But, again, I'm never shot. I'm never hassled to a serious degree. And, like, for the most part, I actually have a better opinion of the officer because I've established at least that little more lighthearted rapport. Whereas if you come up with like your hand on your dominant hip,
and
that's setting the precedent for bad things.
And also, I've experienced both cops. Actually, Geronimo Yanez, the officer that shot Philando Castile, harassed me once I was street racing.
Great.
He had to take his hand on his gun. Again, I had a person of color in my car. My girlfriend at the time was mixed race, and I asked him what he was doing with his hand there, because I'm a white male, and I had totally exercised my white privilege. I said, I'm a white male. I know you're not about to do anything with that, so why don't you calm down, put that clip back on. And he buttoned it back up, and he told me to leave and go home, and I said, will do.
I can picture this now.
I actually, because of that, I know it's Geronimo Yanez because I actually got his badge number, and I actually filed a complaint with the city of Roseville the following day.
I appreciate your process.
Yeah, I actually did. I made a point. I actually asked my girlfriend, like, you need to write down this number. I just gave her the it was like 960 or something. Like that. I asked her for a number. I'm like, yeah, officer, this badge number, and yeah, it went absolutely nowhere.
Of course.
Of course not.
Of course not.
He got fired several years later.
For different reasons.
Yeah.
Well, same reason,
different
yes,
person.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
and different outcome.
Sorry,
But the end of the day, these equipment violations are absolutely ridiculous. There's ways to get around them, and for the safety of everyone, and also I do have to say the safety of the police officer, because for the bootlickers in the audience. I'm sorry, the Blue Lives Matter folks. Oh, not Blue Lives Matter, because they just smash police in the face with the Blue Lives Matter
you're
flag.
confusing a race with a job choice.
With the people who...
The Back the Blue folks.
No, because those are the same people who are on January 6th and beat that cop to death with a Blue Lives Matter flag.
True. What do we call them?
The people that are family members and loved ones of police officers or a member of the police department themselves and are listening.
Probably the most savory way of
this is actually... safer for them to not have these equipment violations, because every time that you're pulling somebody over, you're putting your life in danger. That's why Kim Powder was so spooked out, because she was scared.
Well, I mean, busy streets.
Yeah.
There was like rolling up to a crab.
There was that cop. There's a cop that got hit by an distracted driver a couple of years ago while he was doing this.
Oh yeah.
He was giving a ticket for tabs.
And that's why you should always approach the passenger side of the car too. And it's
that person pulled over in a place where he couldn't easily do that because
it
was on
shouldn't have been pulled over in the first place. But
it's one of those things where you can easily type this into the system, and that person can get a ticket that they can then protest later on if they want. And it's one of those things. It doesn't put you into danger. It doesn't put them into danger, and it gets the problem solved.
Yep. For For tabs, for registration, I agree.
Yeah, and if let's say your argument is that you're a police officer and you're like, well, we need to pull them over because we need probable cause. Your probable cause should be an existing issue.
Yeah. Or something that is actually probable cause.
Yeah, no, your probable cause shouldn't be, I need to find a reason to approach the car because it looked like a car was used in a robbery. What kind of car was it? It was a white W body. Okay, it might have been. Also, half of the grandmas in the world drive a white W body.
I really hope that the guy who stole my 3 Series gets tried soon so I can get the dash cam footage from the car, because they currently won't give it to me from the police car because it's still a trial or whatever. Like, I want to know what happened there, because he was a person of color, and obviously my car is very unique.
Yeah.
No question it's the right car, but I want to know how they found the massive amount of drugs on this person. Like, was that even really done in a savory way?
Probably not.
Probably not, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
Anyway, I wanted to address that since our location and the fact that we have an automotive podcast. I want to make sure that we aren't being misconstrued as not being on the right side of history in any way.
Yes, because in this particular case, there is absolutely a right side and a wrong side. No, I'm glad we covered that. Sorry, we were a little bit late to the punch, but it has been a hell of a couple of weeks.
Yes, it has.
Switching off to more fun things. I was watching Johnny Smith and the Late Break Show yesterday on YouTube, and I was watching his newest review, which is the Hyundai Ioniq 5. So you've seen that.
Yeah.
It's a really low slung, really cool, like 8-bit taillights, 73 kilowatt hours, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive.
Hyundai's actually they've been killing it with their designs lately.
Really good. Because the end of his video, he did vehicle to load, and he powered a bouncy castle with it and a moto chimp at the same time.
That's pretty nifty.
Anyway, in the middle of his review, he also showed a very brief snippet of this bad boy.
This is beautiful.
Which is a one-off Hyundai Pony concept, which is fully functional.
I want this.
I also want this.
One of my favorite concept cars of all time, or my favorite production cars of all time, was the first generation Hyundai Pony, because this is actually a Giugiaro design.
It's beautiful.
It's a kick-ass car.
This trim is so smooth.
Hyundai originally had Giugiaro design this in 1977, I think. It was like a year after he did the Golf. And this is actually a car that went to market that looked almost identical to this, and this is gorgeous.
Yeah, obviously this is the new one-off concept, but like the original cars is very similar. Like
yeah,
the proportions.
It's almost identical.
Spitting.
It's like literally almost identical. I'm a big.
But
fan
it's
of this.
so happy.
I love it. It's angular. I can draw it. This is awesome.
And it got a nice big battery, good range. I'm sure it's fun to drive. I'm sure there's no way this will pass crash test ratings. But
I don't know about that.
Oh, that is not what I wanted at all.
Nope.
Go back to the Pony. There we go.
But that's I don't know. That seems like this could totally pass crash test ratings, because if you look at it, that front end is designed for pedestrian safety.
Oh, yeah, sharp breakover angle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a breakover angle.
You're gonna just break the knees right off. It's gonna be good.
You have a nice crisp angle here, so you can have a strong chassis rail for your quarter overlap.
Yeah, the small front overlap.
Yeah, the 1/4 small frontal overlap crash test. You have a solid piece of body paneling here where you can have a good design. You probably wouldn't need to thicken up the B-pillar. Actually, no, the B-pillar is thick, because if you actually look there, that B-pillar actually is obscured. The glass goes over the pillar.
I was gonna say they could disguise the meat on the inside too, because I've seen people
because
actually do that.
That actually
lately.
looks really meaty if you look at that picture a little bit closer. Yeah, it's a really meaty B-pillar.
Yeah.
So this car could totally pass your crash test ratings, and Fiat has shown that you can just angle the shape of your airbag for your A-pillar to be able to make it pass.
Oh yeah, we have the technology.
Subaru, they've proven that you can make a thin A-pillar that can actually sustain more weight than thick A-pillars.
High-strength steel.
Actually, what Subaru does is they punch circular holes through the A-pillar, and they put in tungsten rings.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds very expensive.
That's how Subaru makes the super thin A-pillars on the Forester. Yeah, because they have tungsten rings that are inserted into the A-pillars. It's really not, in all actuality, not all that much tungsten, but it saves a ton of weight, and
that's really
cool. It also
cool.
helps strengthen the car. Yeah, you can drop a Forester onto a roof and it retains its shape.
Well, that's not as surprising, but with the thin A-pillars, it's
when
impressive.
You think, because next time you look at a Forester, look how thin their A-pillars are. They are nothing, and a lot of people would get terrified of that. I mean, no, they're actually These A-pillars I'd put more faith into than a Hyundai anyway.
I bet the pony's got the tungsten ring, whatever.
Yeah, and also I love that the below the bumper it tapers inwards, so you can actually see the wheels from the front of the car.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing that I feel like probably won't cut the mustard here, is because that's terrible for aerodynamics.
Yeah, it is, but like I bet it's, well, with the battery, it's probably not that light, but who cares? Who
Yeah,
cares?
it's awesome, and also it's a tire.
We're
I'm
not to
sure
the-
you can easily design around that.
I was gonna say we're not to the point where we have the technology like with manual transmission and combustion where you don't really care anymore
You know
about the difference.
You know what else has really bad aerodynamics? Can you just go one photo to the left here?
Oh yeah, everyone
that
in America's
big-
daily
that
driver.
that big dumb truck. Yeah, it's terrible aerodynamics.
That thing.
So-
But this, I saw this and I'm like, this is going in Carbitrage.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I also like that they another cool design they've had is they actually angled the windshield inwards, so the A-pillars will actually draw the air over the car instead of around it. So that will also help keep your kind of 70s design cue while still having a reasonable amount of aerodynamics by modern day standards. I'm a big fan of this. I'm 100% like in favor of it.
They should
Also-
put this into production.
Very unique. I wonder if that bumper right there, that is a vent. I wonder if that's used for cooling the battery.
I thought it was. Is it not a marker light? I
no,
don't know.
because go over to the side profile.
Oops. Oh, sorry.
Go back to where we were.
I'm working.
Where we were.
Yep.
So one more to the left.
Ha-
If you look right there,
oh, I see.
yeah, that bumper actually.
It could be.
There's like an insert there. Also, another cool thing that they did, they added a little dot so you can push open your fuel door,
Oh.
and that's where the keyhole used
That
to
is,
be.
I was gonna say that's a much better system. The push open, push close
Yeah.
fuel lids.
But
70s fuel lids were not great.
Well, they also had the locking key.
Okay.
There so people wouldn't steal your gas. I think they did a really, really cool job working in a ton of 70s design cues on this in a really aesthetically pleasing way. I'm a big fan. I want this to come to life. But
You
anyway,
heard it here first, Hyundai. Make it.
So speaking of Hyundai,
Mhm.
I've seen these regularly for a couple months now. Can you look up the Hyundai Venue? Because these actually,
Oh yeah.
they are dumb. I should hate them, but I can't help but like they bring joy to me.
I like the shape and they're plucky little things.
I love the taillights on the Hyundai
Yeah, I'm
Venue.
looking for the rear. Why are there no rear shots?
I don't. There you go, right there.
Right here. Yep. These
the
are
rear
way.
end on a Hyundai Venue. Like they are much better looking than they have any business looking.
And this is a really high spec one. I always see them fully base, but
Also fully base. I think that there's a manual available for it,
probably Hyundai still definitely makes a manual for the 1.6.
and I would totally buy this and put coilovers on it, because this is just
Dude,
an awesome wagon. It looks beautiful.
the Kona, the Nero, this probably all on the same-ish platform, but they all look really good lowered with 18s on them.
Yeah, and the Venue is like that. The taillights on it always get me. I always see them from a mile away. I go, what the hell is that? And I pull up to it. It's a Hyundai Venue. I'm like, it's a beautiful looking vehicle.
At least from the back.
The front's fine.
It's fine.
I don't hate the front. And for me to say this about a dumb crossover, like I'm very shocked that I'm saying this about a dumb crossover.
But if you slam it, it turns into a 5-door hatchback.
Yes, it is. This is something where it's a crossover by technicality. Like you could easily make this a not crossover.
Yeah, the front's not bad either.
No, and I actually like that they did. Really, what this is the Nissan Juke front end, but in an aesthetically pleasing way.
Yeah, the arrangement, yeah, of all the lights and everything is
They
juke.
just this is all like
Or even
Nissan
Cherokee.
Yeah, Cherokee and Juke, where they do that. They flip the headlights around and they put the headlights where the fog lights should go. But this one actually looks good. Like this is the only one where it looks okay.
There was a Kia compact SUV from probably like 8 years ago that had a really unique front end that I actually really liked. But I'm totally blanking on what the small crossover was called from Kia at the
It
time.
was the Sportage. It's always
Oh.
been theirs. But you're looking at probably the 2015 Sportage.
That's what I typed in. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. It's got to be older.
2000. Try 2010.
I can't have been that
Oh, yeah.
old. No. Maybe it's newer.
Hyundai
Anyway, I'm not
Tucson,
gonna.
maybe.
Maybe. We don't need to do that
But
on the podcast. I like it because it almost looked like Porsche Macan, but before the Macan. Like it has
That would be the Tucson, yes.
Tucson.
Yeah.
But anyway, I always
Same
liked the
company,
front end of
though.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
So,
same platform. and
Speaking,
everything.
I'm gonna give Kia 2 more seconds of spotlight.
Okay.
Because a few days ago, there's a post in the Minnesota Cars and Coffee or whatever page,
Oh,
where
yeah.
somebody said it was that
Boy,
meme,
that page has been fun lately.
that meme that was popular back when we were high schoolers. There's a picture of a 1950s car. It says nobody will be pulling Hondas out of a garage 10 years from now, saying that they're classics. Well, this one was regurgitated and said nobody's going to be pulling a 2003 Kia out of a garage and calling it a classic. And I said, "Oh, you want to bet?" And I got to a whole argument. And I originally said, "Oh, a manual Kia Optima is actually a 2003 Kia Optima manual is a very good car."
Or like a clean tib.
Yeah, but that's not Kia, and that was before Hyundai and Kia's merger.
Oh,
But,
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but Kia, but yes, I said Kia Optima would be a great one because that's just a DSM sedan. But
Which
then
actually looked okay at the
I went
time,
to
too.
bed, and then the next morning I woke up and I said, "First generation Kia Sportage, what the fuck? What am I thinking?" Because if you actually look at that,
Yeah.
type in a 2003 Kia Sportage.
That was one of the last years, too, wasn't it?
2003 Kia Sportage two-door, specifically.
Let me bring the capture back up here. I didn't even know they did a two-door.
They did a two-door.
I remember seeing one of these brand new at the Minneapolis Auto
right
Show,
there.
and they
They
said
are-
it had four-wheel drive and 100 horsepower, and my
Yes.
brain could not wrap itself around how it could move with 25 horse per wheel. And now I'm just like, that's plenty!
So you could get this. It had a Mazda 4-cylinder in it. It was rear-wheel drive bias, 4-wheel drive, manual transmission optional, convertible with the sunroof option. All this shit that you see right here, factory optional. My dad had a 4-door model when I was a
Oh,
kid.
I
and-
remember that.
Yeah, and that is an awesome truck.
Wow.
We got rid of it because
They're surprisingly good.
Yeah, we got rid of it because it was a Minnesota car and it rusted a lot.
A lot of the early ones were let
Yeah.
down with very poor mechanical maintenance by their owners.
Yes, and this one was more of an issue where the underside of the truck was just coming apart because my dad just never did underside washes in the winter, and he didn't pay for the underside proofing.
And these weren't undercoated.
No,
so.
they weren't. But very, very good truck. And if you want something that's like a sidekick, that's like a Jimny, like Samurai, this is the cheapest, most recent version that you could get.
I bet it's even challenging now to find one of these in okay condition.
I have seen one in the last 10 years.
These are in garages of very old deceased folks.
Yes.
Somewhere.
And this is totally a car that you can get out of a garage. It's a manual Kia Sportage two-door.
This just reminds
all
me of
the-
X90.
All the two-doors were convertibles, and they had 4 seats, and they were just as comfortable as the sedan, or the 5-doors. And they also had they had a swingway rear door.
They did.
And
with
they,
a separate tire. Oh,
yeah,
God.
it was awesome. I loved it. The thing was so cool. There's just so much cool shit on this truck. And yeah, the automatics are actually, you had to pay a ton to get an automatic.
It was a 2000 Kia. Of course you did.
My dad was thinking about getting an automatic. He's like, by the time we're done paying this off, Ryan's will be driving. If it's not, I want my son to have his first car be an automatic, so I don't have to pay for a clutch. That's entirely a fair point that my dad had right there. Dumb, but a fair point that he didn't want to pay for a clutch because he would need to pay for a clutch. But then they were like, yeah, you can get automatic. We have one in Chicago.
It was like $1,700 or
And
something.
they're like, it'll be another $1,500 a month for it, and it's only rear-wheel drive. And it's just like, oh my God, how much for a 4x4 automatic? And she goes, oh, it's the same amount of money, but there's a 1 month wait because we have to get it from Korea. And my dad's like, all right, I guess we're getting a manual.
Guess we'll do a clutch then.
Yeah, and we had a manual, and it was actually I totally regret. My childhood regret is not appreciating that truck enough because it was such a kick-ass truck. It was so fucking cool.
I remember when I found out you had one, I'm just like, oh, weird. My 4th grade English teacher bought one of those, and I didn't think anything of
My
it.
parents had all of the Korean cars in the early 90s. They had a Tiburon and a Forester. Or not Forester, a Sportage, whatever you call
Didn't
it.
he have an Optima too?
Yeah, and then my dad traded the Sportage for an Optima.
Before you had to put a clutch in it.
Yeah, before he did. And the Optima, although it was automatic, was V6.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, it had a Mitsubishi Eclipse V6 in it, and it did a burnout. It really did a burnout because it did not have traction
I
control.
was going to say, I'm like, the suspension probably wasn't engineered with that in mind. And I'm sure the tires were very high grade.
If I could ever find a Kia Optima, I get 2003 V6 SE automatic. I would totally get one just so I can lower it and put a manual in it from an Eclipse and put in a Montero 3.8 and make it a really, really dirty car.
Why Montero?
Because that's the biggest version of that engine that you could get.
Couldn't you just put the Myvec 3.8 from the Eclipse in it?
It was the Eclipse never had the 3.8. It had a 3.6. I think that's the highest it went to. The Montero was even bigger.
In the 4th gen Eclipse, the V6 was a 3.6?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Balto listens to the podcast again, so he will call me out
I
if
think
that's
so.
wrong.
I think
okay.
I might be wrong on it, but I do know the Montero had the biggest version.
I really thought
of
it
that
was
engine.
the same engine that was in the, or very similar to what was in the Genesis Coupe.
Well, back when I was working at MA Performance,
Yeah.
actually the highest horsepower non-turbo V6
Yeah.
Eclipse was driven by the guy that did our website stuff,
Huh.
and he had a 300 and I think it was like 360 horsepower.
That's pretty
all
good.
motor V6 3rd gen Eclipse. Like, it was gnarly. And, like, I think that'd be hilarious to build that. And he based it off of Montero 3.8.
Oh my god.
And, like, it's mostly, like, stock crap with, like, I think he had, like, a hot cam in it, and that was it. But I would love to do that and stick that into an Optima, because that'd be
Yeah, it's
awesome.
like GSX swapping what is that?
Smart.
Eagle Summit.
Yeah, an Eagle Summit. Yeah, it's a 4G63 in a Summit. It's,
Yeah.
it's a dumb engine swap. It's way too easy to do. And the Optima looks like a really cheap Lexus GS.
Sure does.
Honestly,
I always liked the taillights on those.
it's got probably one of the best rear ends in the early 2000s of any manufacturer. As they did the early 2000s rear end the best.
They did the copycat luxury rear end really well, and the XG300 did everything so poorly.
Yes, it is the Optima V6 was the opposite of the XG350. Yes. So anyway, I'm gonna continue talking at you because I want to talk about Prince Philip because he died. Nobody was talking about that.
Great. Terrible. Whatever.
I'm actually bummed about that one because
Oh.
there's gonna be no more hilarious, really out of touch statements coming from him.
That's true. He was
unless the Queen seances him, and it's like, how do we know it's you?
and then it's a Modi statement.
Say something. Say something so we know it's you. And he just says something awful that we can't repeat on air.
That's like the Louis C.K. sketch. Like, well, black people steal.
Yeah, it's like that. Like seriously, it's like
Like, she wasn't thinking. That's just something I came up with in my big stupid head.
yeah. But he would say those things, and he's like the head of state. He's awful.
We've all heard our grandparents, bless their hearts, say some really unsavory shit. Just
I
picture that, but with Prince Philip.
remember when my grandma decided she wanted to go see 8 Mile back in the day.
Oh no.
Because I don't know why. She liked Meg Ryan. That's what it was.
Meg Ryan's at 8 Mile?
Yeah, she is.
Wow.
She's a female.
I don't know if I've ever seen that now.
And my grandma said, I've seen enough of these expletive. And we had to leave. I left. I chose to leave because grandma was being grandma. I'm like, I'm not explaining to everybody that this lady has the early stages of Alzheimer's, but she does, and we need to leave right now. So,
Wow.
I've never seen the whole movie to date.
I have not either.
Because now, whenever I think I see a movie, I think of that moment, and I'm like, I can't watch the rest of this movie because I'm thinking about this shocking moment.
You pause it and you never get back to it.
I never get back to it. I've never seen all of 8 Mile because of that. Because because of my grandmother. But anyway, so Prince Philip was he died.
Well, he's gone now.
Yeah, he's gone. However, his hearse was probably the best hearse I've ever seen.
It looks pretty
He
gnarly.
designed it.
Oh my god.
It is
What a luxury, huh?
It is actually pretty cool that he designed it. Not gonna lie, it's a Land Rover Defender that's a modified. It's a long wheelbase
Very long
Defender
wheelbase, yep.
modified to be a hearse, which is pretty awesome. Big fan of it.
I like the top-down like block diagram of where all these blocky vehicles.
Yes, so you have the Queen and then you have the royal family members and staff, Land Rover and escort, military commanders and chiefs of staff, band of grenadier guards. Then I don't know, nothing. But
that's it. This is probably just a front arrow pointing at the direction of travel.
so apparently the royal hearses cannot be brought in by horse anymore, because I think it was Queen Victoria. The horse bucked and almost slid the coffin out of the hearse into the Thames, and luckily, one of the dudes on the head's estate was able to push it back in before it fell into the Thames.
What century is Britain living in post-Brexit? Because I'm pretty sure it's not the same one that we are
The
in.
things that we're having to say about this man and of itself are just like...
I feel like I'm watching The Princess Bride when I hear anything that comes out of Britain now.
It really, I honestly think that the British think that it's like 1905, 1920. That's what year it is.
Everything was better at the time.
But I mean, to be fair, he's Prince Philip. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Prince Philip next to Barack Obama, and Barack Obama putting up with him, and then Michelle Obama not strangling him in the car. I'm just thinking of everybody in the car, and the Queen's just like pretending she isn't hearing anything.
Oof.
That is like, I wish I was a fly on the wall in that car ride right there.
Bet you that's got the Bowers and Wilkins stereo in it, and it
Yes,
was being
very
played.
loud.
Oh, with the fader all the way in one corner.
Yeah, all the way in the right front. But oh god, I'm a little bummed that I'm not gonna have any more comically terrible statements. But thank God he's dead.
Yeah,
Any other-
I have no follow-up to that. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
you
much in
don't.
agreement.
Yeah, he's
Like,
an awful
He-
person.
He's gone, and that is that. That is the end of that is him.
Yep, there we
Ta-da.
go.
Ta-da.
I think the Queen's probably thrilled too, because she's never been much of a fan of him.
Oh my god.
If you ever seen The Crown, she tried to divorce him. So
No, I haven't. But like, anything that's
They-
like old-timey royal weddings and
I love the Queen. The Queen herself is wonderful. Everybody else around her is rubbish. But
I appreciate the vernacular,
Yes.
so I can understand that we're still in a British context.
no, she almost divorced him in the 50s, but she's like
Oh
she said, if I divorce you, your life's gonna be terrible. Your life is gonna be terrible. I'm the Queen, so we really can't do this. So it was almost like at least from The Crown, it's almost like I think you're gonna have an accident if we need to get divorced.
He was tending to his horses near the Thames as he once did.
And then he fell in. He had
no.
he had his shoes made of concrete, as one does.
Very polished concrete that was on a slope.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind
And he will be missed by someone.
of. By his late mother, maybe.
No,
I don't-
possibly.
probably not. If you were that shit as an adult, you probably weren't a great kid either.
Nobody liked him.
Especially if you came from royalty. I mean, let's be honest.
I just feel bad for once the Queen dies, because every one of her children are rubbish, and everybody's rubbish except for Harry.
I don't know anything about the royal family.
Harry's the one that married Meghan Markle.
I don't know who that is. I don't know either of these people are.
Oh, you've never seen the Harry and Meghan Markle
No.
interview with Oprah?
No.
Dude, you need to watch
After the podcast, remind me. I'll watch it.
There is some tea. There is
Oh.
a whole lot of tea. Dude, I can't believe you've not seen this. There's
No.
so much tea on
I
this.
live under a rock. You know this.
You really need to watch.
All right. Well,
Harry and
remind
Meghan
me. I got a
Markle
TV right over there.
with-
We'll do it.
I've never seen Oprah Winfrey break character in an interview.
Oh, I bet this is good.
That's how shocked she was from the things that came from the royal family's mouth about Meghan Markle.
wow. Okay.
So
I need to watch this.
It's
then.
real good. But anyway, so there's one less, so that's a wonderful thing.
Speaking of royalty doing dumb things, kind of.
Yes.
That Rolls-Royce Phantom I talked about last time we recorded, I was slated to go get it.
Oh, yeah.
A day before I was to do that, the person backpedaled, refused my bill of sale, essentially, that he and his lawyer had approved, and decided he wanted to use a commercial wholesale real estate bill of sale that his lawyer gave him. I'm like, this doesn't have any protections or assurances for me that the car will still be there, so I'm sorry, I can't do that. And the guy just started yeah, well, if you don't want to blah, 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 that kind of mentality where it's like, well, I'm better than you, I would have to do your documents. Then he sent me a link to his Instagram,
Okay.
which was just full of selfies of him and like famous people, but like we're talking like Rudy Giuliani and garbage tier like that, like not good. And then a link to a Forbes article about him being a New York real estate mogul. And then it's like, if you're here tomorrow, ask for the president of the building at this address.
So, all right, hang on 1 second here. Nothing that you've told me lends any credence to this person being like, unless you're telling me that his name is Mark Cuban.
Nope.
Like,
No,
okay,
this
then-
person is like faux, just like the illusion, his self illusion that he is important.
He must be that guy that designed that terrible apartment from Penguin Zero.
Oh yeah.
It's probably him.
just marble, weird marble everywhere.
Weird marble everywhere.
Marble
Yeah.
seats, marble
Like
tables.
like a gold desk made of poops.
Oh yeah,
It's bad.
oh god. I have more things to say about
Probably.
penguins if it is, but anyway. So I said no. I'm like, if you change your mind, contact me. He's like, well, I'll never change my mind. I'll just keep it. He had told me before this he had an offer from Rolls-Royce on trade-in for $74,995, which seemed reasonable. I'm like, I will give you $80,000 as is, or $81 if you pull the wrap off. He's like, oh, the wrap looks beautiful. After this happened, I watched the price, asking price, go from $85,000 the next day to $80,000, which is what I offered. Then the next day, I watched it go to $75,000. Next day, watched it go to $70,000, and he added more text, a couple more pictures, and a Carfax that was taken the wrong orientation with a phone camera from black and white printouts. I had already run my own, so it didn't matter. Then, the next day, the wrap had been pulled off, and his price was $85,000. The next day, he added a few more double-parked pictures in New York with his hazards on, with the wrap removed, at $100,000. I've just been
He's gonna
watching
live
this.
with this car for
Dude,
the rest of
I
his
know. I'm
life.
just like, I've never seen a roller coaster like this. This is amazing. I dodged. Like, it's a really nice car still. I absolutely.
Have you seen that
would've
dude in
made
town
the
that's
deal.
got the one with the white alligator skin wrapped Rolls-Royce Phantom with the gold Spirit of Ecstasy?
No, that sounds really ostentatious.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I looked at the dude and I think I've recognized him before. I think he's the dude that owns Hideaway, because he looks like Wally. But I wasn't sure. I saw him from like across a Starbucks, and I'm like, I think it's Wally from Hideaway, but I can't tell for sure. But
Yeah, I don't know, and I wouldn't associate with other Phantom owners. But
the car is wild. It's I've never seen anything like it, and the guy looks like nobody I want to ever talk to.
Oh, yeah.
But the car is so freaking cool.
I
I'm
mean,
really irritated that I
you're,
like it that much.
taking the unique finishes that you already have to do with Rolls-Royce and then just throwing them all away.
It's so. I have a picture of it on my Instagram. I think.
Okay. Well, I
I'll
mean,
have to show it to you because
alright.
it's. I've never seen anything like it before, and I think if you ever think of seeing a Phantom, you're just gonna have to know that this car also exists.
Yeah, but I want one with a black interior.
This one, I have no idea what color its interior was.
It's probably
He had
beige.
like super dark mirror tint. It was not beige. I know that because I could see through the front windshield.
Huh.
But
I'm a little bit surprised. The vast majority of my find are that like Natur beige, whatever color.
maybe it was like a two-tone, like a black and beige or something. But here.
I posted in wholesale. Oh my god,
It is so ridiculous.
that's a wraith.
Is
Or
it?
a
No, it's a Phantom.
ghost. Isn't
Oh,
it?
ghost? No, it's
I'm pretty sure it's a
Phantom.
ghost. It could be a Phantom 8. The front end just. I'm pretty sure that's a ghost.
You cannot see it very well. But the entire body of the car is alligator skin vinyl wrap.
I kind of like that.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous and horrible. And it's the sort of thing that gets your head cut off during.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the Oh.
That's a ghost.
Okay, it's a ghost.
Um,
Yeah, but that car is rowdy.
Oh,
loved
I mean,
it was
if-
so dumb.
If you don't explicitly care about the extra 3/4 of a liter of displacement or the "I'm better than you" nature of the Phantom, just buy a ghost.
Yeah,
'Cause I know it's a 7 Series, but nobody cares.
it looks so cool though. Like it just looks cool as shit.
At least you did something interesting with it. I mean, most of them are the same. I mean, you don't see Phantoms or even ghosts or
and
wraiths to begin
You're gonna
with.
get this for Florida, right?
No,
Oh,
for
just for up here?
It's to replace the S-Class.
Ah, I see.
Yes.
For you or for your dad?
It's not for me. I'm done buying cars.
You're done by. So it's for your father.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good car. For
It's
your
just
dad.
I mean, that's the one vehicle that we don't agree as a family on very many cars.
That's the one you agree
And
on.
the Phantom we all love.
It's a pretty great car. I hate luxury cars like that, but it's a pretty great car.
I think the main reason we all love it is because we used to, in Florida, when we first had a place down there, we had my grandfather's old Oldsmobile Silhouette, 98. Not even the good generation one. We pulled out of our condo, and there's a really fancy area behind us, which is $20+ million single-family homes. What comes up behind us but a brand new Phantom 7 while we are in a $1,200 beige Oldsmobile Silhouette, and we're like,
We need
we need a Phantom now.
we need to fix this.
But this was 2003 when we had no money. So
I think
there you
my other issue is I don't like Rolls-Royce or Bentley that much. I guess between the two, I like Bentley a little bit more, but I hate modern Bentleys so much
Yeah. The thing that modern Bentleys have going for them is you could get them now with a 4-liter twin turbo. Like that's actually an okay
Yeah,
engine.
I just don't like the way they look.
Oh,
They
yeah.
look terrible.
Oh, yeah. Even modern
so-
Rollas look terrible.
Yeah.
Phantom
However,
8's
I will
not.
say that as far as British cars go, I'm pretty firmly in the Jag camp, and I will take the L on luxury stuff to say I have a Jag, because I get it. I never understood Jeremy Clarkson when I was in high school. I didn't get the hype, but now like after I've been writing them all the time at work, I'm like I get the hype. Like
British
kind of want
men
one quite badly.
Go from like an Austin Healey to an Alfa Romeo to a Jag.
That's literally what they do.
And then they die in a Land Rover.
Yeah, and I'm at Jag point
And
now.
I guess they start with a Mini when they're
But
like
it's-
16.
what did it for me with Jags when I found out that on the XJ8s and the XJRs in the early 2000s, they had different emblems for which engine you had to show what engine it was.
Oh my
that was the
God.
part that was like so cool because like, you look at it, you go, it's got the 4-liter V8, but then if it was a red one said 4-liter, it'd say supercharged at the top. It was really cool. Like it was objectively cool.
I do like subtlety like that. Like somebody cared.
Like, and they have 6 different tan leather interiors. They all
No.
have different names.
No wonder they went broke and got bought by an Indian company.
They're great. I love it. Stupid things like that. I'm such a fan of. Like they
oh
are
my
the
God.
like they are like they're the reason that Lexus exists. Like that exactly. They're the reason that Lexus exists.
Like I want that, but
But like when you think of the things that are like, yeah, I want to make work.
I want it to start.
But like if you think of the company that Lexus was like made to counter, and you think of, all right, I get that they're bad, but think of the cool things that company also would have done. You get some cool stuff. And
I'm glad Jaguar exists, but I would not buy one.
I
Maybe like an 08 XK8. Those I actually kind of dig.
would do
Or an XF. Those are gorgeous. But I'd need to manual swap it.
I would do a Jaguar XJR.
What year?
Those were 2003, 2004.
So the later 4.2, not the early 4.0.
4.2 supercharged.
Yeah.
Brembo brakes.
Mhm.
3-piece CBS wheels. That
Yeah.
I would actually.
There was like a last hurrah of the XJ,
Yeah.
XJR. That was a nice car.
And it's like I usually hate gigantic wheels on cars. So that's when I might keep the gigantic wheels on them.
Well, like that car donated half the underpinnings for like the new like Aston styled XKs, and like it shows because like they both look really good with giant wheels.
Yeah, and I would. Otherwise, I would totally do an 80s XJ. I'd do a 80s XJ Vandenplow with the fluted grill, and
Actually, didn't we
take.
talked about
yeah.
there's another wasn't Vandenplow, but it was another trim level or something. Oh, we talked about it in the last episode.
I know we did, but I don't have that last episode in front of me right now. But I would totally do one of those with a V8.
Okay.
Like that'd be the other one I'd do. But anyway,
I get the Vandenplow with a 4-liter.
with the I do an American via LS swap,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like functional.
Reliability.
Yeah, reliable and faster. Because it'd be nice to like be able to drive out to Grove Creek and not be tired by the time I get there, and like lay down some like dirty times and then come back and be comfortable. Like,
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
That's a fair point.
like,
I have no
the,
counter.
The car doesn't have any safety equipment, so it doesn't weigh that much. It's from like the 1960s, so
And
it's
let's
like
be honest, outside of engine management, not a lot of electronics going on in there.
Yeah, no,
You
not
got
really.
wires to the headlight bulbs and the taillights.
and then
You're
like
good.
I'm pretty sure they probably had like an entirely separate wiring harness for the interior.
I hope so.
Because I would feel like they're British and they're just gonna tack some shit on to stuff that already exists, so it'd just be an extra wiring harness.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Simplicity.
when the XJ started, they didn't have power seats or anything, so you know that was a modular harness. And then fuel injection started, so that was a modular harness. So you're probably right.
Yeah,
'Cause they didn't change.
I honestly think that they just added modular harnesses on, and
Like the E30, it works
yeah,
great.
and it's fine. Anyway, let's talk about Japanese cars as
Okay.
things I currently own and will continue to own. I want to talk about this really cool Honda Urban E drag concept that came out. From what I understand, this is made in conjunction with HKS.
Okay.
Is a zero yan dragster.
What does that mean?
Zero yan is 0 to 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Japanese drag racing.
I just thought it meant like yawning was illegal.
Yeah, no. But
Oh,
it's
that's
a
so cute.
EV dragster based off the Honda Urban E platform, and it looks cool as hell. Like
It's even cute without the clamshell on it.
yeah, it's hard to make this car not cute. But like it's totally gutted. It still has the wood dash, which I think is hilarious. Lexian windows.
I can do 1,000 Ks, or sorry, meters, and I can also have the fish tank going at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Um,
With a
it's got
friend.
it's got like Kirky racing seats in it. Like it's pretty wild, and they didn't do any actual like performance stuff with the engine itself, because I think that the proof of concept here is that like the engine has enough power anyway, and it's rear-wheel drive. So if you notice that the front end has the skinny front wheels on it,
Yep.
so it's a rear-wheel drive, rear-engine Honda dragster, and it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of it.
I don't understand it at all, but I love it because adding lightness and simplification to a tiny
Well,
EV, I bet
if you
that
think
thing's
about
hilarious.
what is the way that you prove that a car is faster without having any other variables?
Weight reduction.
Well, I mean, what's your way of
Oh,
proving
slow car
that?
fast.
You drag race.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you prove that a car's fast without
Oh.
having anything that could possibly be a variable. You can't have your the car. It was slightly damp outside.
Yeah, my
so,
prep wasn't perfect.
Yeah, it was slightly damp outside, so I didn't have good handling in turn 6.
My 60-foot would have
Like
been better.
you have
had
you have a
black-
60-foot. You can totally do 20 runs in a day, and then have a statistical average that's quite quick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like all these parts are made out of like CRFP. It's made with in conjunction with HKS and Honda Access, which is Japan's Honda performance.
I remember seeing
line
that
that
on
you can
like
get, yeah.
Gran Turismo liveries.
Yeah, Honda Access is like the that's like Honda's little performance subdivision. But
That's like AXX ESS or something.
it's got the front wheels are from the NSX,
Okay.
which I think is hilarious. Or sorry, they're 17 by 7 aluminum wheels are used in the front, and NSX wheels in the back. That's what it was.
Okay. I was like, how
M&H Racemaster drag slicks.
as if it needs that.
No, I mean, honestly, if you want to put down a time, like
Yeah.
0 spin,
Yep.
and like that's what probably kills a EV for your quarter mile time is tire spin, because
Could be.
it just has nothing but torque immediately. I'm a big fan of this. I really think that they should actually bring this to America, and like bring this to like Honda Day at Englishtown Raceway.
Oh yeah.
And,
Just have like a safety car for drag racing or something.
well, no, I mean, like, actually use it, like, drag it, like, actually put it on the track and use it, because I know for a fact that this car will easily, no question, run it in the second quarter mile time. I have no doubt of that at all.
I don't remember what it. I think it's around 200 horsepower.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it weighed.
200 horsepower. Hondas with 300 horsepower regularly are in the 10s, and most of that time is spent getting off the line. This is rear engine,
Right,
it's
but this
rear-wheel
is
drive.
Probably 800 pounds heavier than a
Not
car
really,
like that.
probably not.
That battery
because,
pack is not cut down.
Yeah, but there's nothing in the car. Every piece of
No,
weight,
it's a
like
fish tank.
all the
I know.
all the glass.
I'd be curious to see what it runs.
Yes, I think it could run a 10.9. That's a 10-second. Sorry,
That's stock power. I don't think it could.
I think you run a 10.9.
Yeah.
Because when you watch Hondas, like, whenever you watch a Honda that is, well, maybe like, all right, 11. I'll give it an 11.
In the 11s, I could see.
Well, actually, because I'm thinking about like, say, like a Prelude Swap Civic. Your issues with the Prelude Swap Civic is you have tire spin at all times.
Yep.
And you have a power band that's like this big. So most of the time you're off power. This one, you are always on power. You are never switching gears. It's rear-wheel drive, so it's way easier to get traction. So, and I honestly, if you look at Honda, like 60-foot times, are like usually like 2 seconds. Like,
You're right.
so you lose a lot of time. And a Prelude swapped EF Civic like easily runs a 13, like with no effort at all. So if you just if you put in the slightest amount of effort with your transmission, with your suspension setup, you can get a Prelude Swap Civic into the 12s without a problem. I think if you make it rear-wheel drive and you add lightness and you're always on power, you can probably kiss the 10s with this.
I mean, just tuning the inverter, I'm 100% on board. You could make that kind of pass.
So
But stock, yeah, probably in the high 11s.
that's
my
10.9, maybe 11.3 at the slowest, I'd say. But I would love to see this go to the track and prove me right.
Well, hopefully they do that this year as the world slowly starts to open up.
Yeah, it'd be very,
sure they
very cool.
will.
And
Yeah.
because like nobody else in the world gives a shit about drag racing. It's such a weird thing to build. Like they should really bring this.
Time to strip up my 500 and bring it up with some slicks.
I would. I absolutely would.
If I was planning to keep it long term, I probably would, but
That'd be a very good decision. So, what do you guys think? If you think that the Honda Urban E EV is slower than 10.9 to 11.3,
yeah, if
let
you're-
us know on our Discord. And if you think it's faster, let us know on our Discord. Either way, being a patron helps.
Well, it certainly automatically adds you, so we don't have a say in the matter.
Exactly. So you can have a say in the matter, and otherwise you don't really have a say. You just have to go with what I say.
Even if you become a patron, you can jump into the Discord and say automatics rule, and you might get a second post in before I ban you.
Yeah, it might. Or
Why don't you try?
Yeah, why don't you try it? There's only one way to know. And on that bombshell.
See you guys next week.